Have you ever wondered why, in a room full of people, you are the one who notices the slight tremor in someone's voice? Why you catch the shadow passing behind their eyes while everyone else laughs at the joke? Why a particular color stops you in your tracks while others walk past it without a second glance? This is not randomness. This is not coincidence. What you notice reveals who you are. Not who you pretend to be, not who you've been told to be, but who you actually are, beneath all the layers of social performance and learned behavior. Jung understood something profound about human perception. He recognized that we don't all see the same world, even when we're standing in the same room, looking at the same things. We see through the lens of our own psyche, through the filter of our experiences, our wounds, our longings, our particular way of being alive. The artist notices light falling across a wall. The musician hears the rhythm in footsteps. The person who has known loss recognizes grief in a stranger's posture before a word is spoken. We are all walking around with different instruments of perception, tuned to different frequencies. And here is the remarkable thing. What you notice is not a limitation. It is a revelation. It is your psyche speaking to you, showing you what matters, guiding you toward what you need to understand about yourself and the world. Attention is not democratic. It does not spread itself evenly across everything in your field of vision. It is selective, deeply personal, and always meaningful. Think about this. Right now, in this very moment, there are countless things you could be noticing. The texture of the surface beneath you, the temperature of the air against your skin, the subtle sounds in the distance, the quality of light, the movement of shadows, the rhythm of your own breathing. But you don't notice everything. You can't. The human mind would collapse under the weight of pure, unfiltered perception. So instead, your psyche acts as a curator, selecting what rises to the level of consciousness and what remains in the background. And that selection process, it is not arbitrary. It follows the invisible architecture of who you are. If you have known betrayal, you may notice inconsistencies in people's stories. If you have cultivated beauty in your life, you may see it where others see only ordinary things. If you have struggled with being unseen, you may notice when others are overlooked, dismissed, or ignored. Your attention gravitates toward what resonates with your inner world, toward what mirrors something within you, toward what you need to learn, heal, understand, or express. Jung called this the personal unconscious, the reservoir of experiences, memories, patterns, and associations that shape how you engage with reality. When something in the external world touches something in that inner reservoir, attention is drawn. Recognition occurs. You notice, and in that noticing, there is information about you, about what lives inside you, waiting to be understood. But why do others ignore what seems so obvious to you? Why can't they see what you see? The answer is simple, though not always easy to accept. They are not meant to. They are noticing other things, different things, things that correspond to their own inner worlds, their own questions, their own paths of becoming. This is where we often stumble into judgment. We assume that what is important to us should be important to everyone, that what we see is what everyone should see, that our lens is the correct lens. But consciousness is not a hierarchy. It is a spectrum, a vast, intricate web of different ways of perceiving, each one valid, each one offering a unique perspective on the mystery of existence. The person who walks past the trembling voice and the shadow behind the eyes may be noticing something else entirely. The tension in the room, the way the conversation is structured, the pattern of power and submission playing out. Or perhaps they are turned inward, noticing their own anxiety, their own longing, their own quiet desperation. We are all walking through the same world, but we are not having the same experience. And this is not a flaw in the design. This is the design. Jung spoke of individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, distinct from the collective, distinct from the roles you've been assigned. And part of that process is honoring your particular way of seeing, even when, especially when, it differs from those around you. What you notice is a thread. Follow it, and it will lead you deeper into yourself. Ignore it, suppress it, try to notice what others notice instead, and you will lose the path to your own wholeness. But here is where the path becomes more challenging. Because not everything we notice is comfortable. Not everything we see reflects well on us. Sometimes what you notice reveals your envy, your jealousy, your resentment. You notice when someone else receives praise and you feel a sharp, unwelcome pang. You notice beauty, and alongside admiration, there is bitterness that it is not yours. You notice someone's success, and a dark voice inside you wishes for their failure. This too is information. This too is your psyche speaking. Jung understood that the unconscious contains not only forgotten memories and unrealized potentials, but also what he called the shadow. All the parts of ourselves we have disowned, rejected, deemed unacceptable. And the shadow does not disappear simply because we refuse to acknowledge it. It continues to operate, influencing what we see and how we interpret it. When you notice something that triggers a strong, uncomfortable reaction, pause. Do not rush to judgment, neither of yourself nor of what you're observing. Ask instead, what is this showing me about myself? What part of me is activated here? What am I being invited to understand, to integrate, to bring into the light? The person who notices cruelty in others may be carrying their own unacknowledged capacity for cruelty. The person who is acutely sensitive to dishonesty may be hiding from a truth they don't want to face. The person who sees weakness everywhere may be terrified of their own vulnerability. This is not about shame. This is about honesty, real honesty. The kind that allows you to look at all of yourself, light and shadow, strength and wound, with compassion and curiosity. Because when you can do that, when you can see yourself clearly, something shifts. You begin to notice differently, with less judgment, with more understanding, with a kind of spaciousness that allows both you and others to be fully human, fully complex, fully alive. So we return to where we began, to the question of why you notice what others ignore. And now perhaps the answer is clearer. You notice what you notice because of who you are, because of what you have lived through, because of what you carry within you, both the beauty and the burden, because of the particular shape of your soul. This is not a defect. This is your gift, your contribution to the collective understanding of what it means to be human. The world needs people who notice the trembling voice, and it needs people who notice the structural patterns. It needs people who see the light falling across the wall, and it needs people who see what remains hidden. Your particular vision matters. Your attention is not random. It is a compass, a guide toward the questions you are here to explore, the understanding you are here to cultivate, the wholeness you are here to embody. So trust what you notice. Honor it. Follow it inward. Let it teach you about yourself. And when you have learned what it has to offer, let it guide you outward again, into a world that is richer and more mysterious than any single perspective can capture. What you notice is not just about you, it is about all of us. Every unique lens contributes to the larger tapestry of human consciousness. So look, notice, pay attention, not to what you think you should notice, but to what actually calls to you. And in that noticing, you will find yourself. Not the self you were told to be, but the self you actually are. This is the path. This is how you become whole.